Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good day to everyone. Welcome to the Brain Butter session for December 2025. I am Nur Fadila Yusof and today I will share a brief presentation entitled Bringing Educational Inequality, ASEAN's Commitment to Out-of-School Children and Youth, OSCE, Insight from the ASEAN OSCE Seminar 2025. I hope this session offers useful insights and meaningful learning experience for all. So let's begin. I recently attended the ASEAN Out of School Children and Youth Seminar held from 28 to 30th October 2025 in Aloft, Kuala Lumpur, which gathered more than 200 regional and global delegates to address educational exclusion under the theme From Margin to Center. Officiated by the Honourable Minister of Education, the event also marked the launch of SIP KPM data-driven system to track at-risk learners. The 3-day program featured presentations, panel discussions, hands-on activities, and a youth engagement session with Arus Academy to raise awareness and empower students as part of the effort to ensure no child is left behind. Now, let us understand what we mean by OSCE, or Out-of-School Children and Youth. This term does not only refer to children who are completely outside the education system. It includes 3 categories. First, those who have never enrolled in school. Second, those who were enrolled but later dropped out. And third, those who are officially enrolled but disengaged, meaning they attend school but do not participate or benefit from learning. So when we talk about OSCE, we are not just looking at visible dropouts but also hidden exclusion among children who are physically in school yet educationally left behind. The world today is facing an unprecedented learning crisis. According to UNESCO, 272 million children are out of school globally, and additional 600 million children are in school but not achieving basic proficiency in reading and mathematics. At the same time, 44 million teachers are needed by year 2030 to meet global learning demands, a gap that continues to widen. Conflict displacement and political instability have reserved many years of progress, with global OSCE numbers rising by more than 21 million in just 1 year due to education restriction in crisis-affected countries. Behind these numbers lie deeply structural challenges. Poverty remains the strongest predictor of whether a child stays in school. Children from the poorest household face the highest dropout rates, the lowest completion rates, and the lowest learning outcomes. Wealth-based inequalities remains the most persistent and pervasive patterns across countries. A second major factor is geography. Rural, remote, and hard-to-reach communities often face a shortage of schools, teachers, infrastructures, and transports. Third, children with disabilities continue to be excluded due to inaccessible environment and lack of learning support materials. And finally, the digital divide, the gap between those who have access to digital learning and those who do not, has become a new driver of inequality. Even as digital learning tools expand, millions of children remain unconnected. ASEAN countries have achieved strong progress in access to education. Across the region, 90% of school-aged children are enrolled, and most countries have near universal primary education. However, the challenge lies in completion and learning quality. only 77% of children complete the full education cycle, and fewer than 40% reach minimum reading proficiency at the end of primary school. In total, Southeast Asia records 18 million out-of-school children and youth, with trends showing worrying stagnation since 2016. The causes of exclusion in ASEAN mirror global patterns, but with specific regional characteristics. First, poverty and financial pressure. Data from Vietnam shows that upper secondary OSCE is 45 percentage points higher among the poorest quintile. Indonesia also reports poverty as number one driver of dropout. Second, rural-urban disparities. In Vietnam, OSCE is highest in Northern Mountainous region and Central Highland, where schools are far apart, infrastructure is weak, and digital access is limited. Third, migration and documentation barriers. Children of migrant workers, displaced communities, and undocumented families face administrative and legal barriers that block access to schooling. Fourth, gender-related factors. Thailand reports 1.4 million needs youth aged 15 to 24, with 70% young women, many of whom are teenage mothers or have family responsibilities. And finally, children with disabilities. Across ASEAN, many schools still lack adapted classroom, trained teachers, and accessible learning tools. These challenges align with the UNESCO-UNICEF 7 Dimensions of Exclusion model, which was highlighted during the seminar. This model emphasized that exclusion can begin as early as preschool and continues across all age groups unless systemic interventions are put in place. The 7 dimensions of exclusion show who is out of school and who is at risk. Exclusion begins before primary school, affecting children without access to early childhood education. Some children never enter school or leave before completing it. Others are enrolled but still vulnerable due to being overage, disengaged, or at risk of dropping out. At the secondary level, exclusion continues, whether through complete absence or weak participation. Overall, exclusion is not only about being outside the system, but also being in school without learning or support. Malaysia still faces pockets of OSCE, which exclusion patterns are driven by several intersecting factors. Firstly is financial pressure, particularly among single-parent and B40 households, leads students to miss school and to help support family income. The digital divide and learning loss after COVID-19 continue to widen the academic gaps, placing more students at risk of disengagement. Thirdly is geographical barriers in interior Sabah and Sarawak, limited transport and sparse school placement deepen exclusion. Documentation challenges prevent stateless and migrant children from enrolling in government schools. And finally, psychosocial and behavioral difficulties, including trauma, anxiety, and weak foundational literacy and numeracy, further increase dropout risk. Malaysia has introduced a range of initiatives to address these gaps. One of the largest is Program Anak Kita, a national learning recovery and dropout prevention involving 83,752 students across 2,340 schools, driven by multi-ministry and community partnerships. The country is also strengthening integrated data system to better identify risk learners, monitor attendance, and streamline interventions. Digital inclusion efforts now provide tablets, smart TVs, learning platforms, and targeted support to B40 and rural households. Malaysia is also expanding flexible and alternative education pathways, including community-based models and programs for undocumented children. Finally, counselors, remedial teachers, and learning assistants are being deployed to strengthen psychosocial supports and student well-being. Malaysia's approach reflects a whole-of-nation, child-centered strategy fully aligned with ASEAN's collective aim to reduce exclusion. Another Malaysia's efforts in addressing OSCE is the development of SIP KPM, a national data system that detects students at risk of dropping out. Through predictive analytics and AI, schools and the ministry can identify early warning signs based on attendance, academic performance, and socio-economic indicators. SIP KPM enables targeted support such as counselling, financial aid, and academic intervention, ensuring that every child remains in school and no one is left behind. Let's now move on to Thailand's efforts in OSCE, where the country has introduced two key initiatives, the Equitable Education Fund and the Zero Dropout Program. Thailand presented one of the region's most comprehensive models through the Equitable Education Fund, providing conditional cash transfers to 1.3 million of the poorest students, supported by integrated data from 6 ministries. Its Zero Dropout campaign has mapped over 980,000 OSCE, enabling targeted re-engagement. We now turn to the case of Indonesia, our closest regional neighbour. Indonesia has shown significant commitment in tackling OSCE through an approach referred to as an integrated two-pronged strategy. Indonesia employs an integrated two-pronged strategy that combines prevention and recovery in addressing OSCE. Prevention focuses on keeping children in school, mainly through the program Indonesia Pintar, which provides financial assistance to cover tuition, materials, transportation, and other indirect costs that often force students to drop out. Recovery supports those who are already out of school through non-formal learning centers, flexible schedules, and community re-entry programs. Adolescents and working youth are given practical pathways to return to education. Together, this approach prevents exclusion before it happens and reopens opportunities for those who are already left the system, ensuring that learning remains accessible at any stage. Last but not least, we turn to Vietnam, whose efforts offer valuable lessons for addressing OSCE through a strategy known as Digital Transformation for Equity. Vietnam faces high exclusion among upper secondary youth, exceeding 845,600 students. Its digital transformation includes 46,000 schools with free internet access and over 300,000 tablets distributed through the Waves and Computers for Children program, alongside training for 77% of inclusive education teachers. Across ASEAN, one message is clear: educational inequality is not inevitable, it's solvable. 3 lessons stand out. First, data must drive action. Integrated data system enable faster identification, monitoring, and support for OSCE. Second, financial barriers must be addressed. Cash transfers and targeted subsidies reduce dropout risk, especially among the poorest. Third, flexible learning pathways are essential. Community-based alternatives and technology-enabled programs must extend beyond traditional schooling. Together, ASEAN is building more inclusive, resilient and equitable education system. Where we bring children from the margin to the center, we ensure that every learner, regardless of geography, income, identity or circumstance, has the opportunity to learn, grow and thrive. That concludes my sharing for today. Before I end this video, I would like to invite all of you to take part in a short quiz. Till then, thank you for listening.